Vascha
Adibhuta
Adibhuta
iti
Iti
tridha.
Tridha
Adibhuta iti tridha.
Adibhuta Iti Tridha
Virat pranaha
Virat Pranaha
dashavidha.
Dashavidha
Virat prano dashavidha.
Virat Prano Dashavidha
Ekadha
Gadha
hridayena
Hridayena
cha.
Cha
Ekada hridayena cha.
Ekada Hridayena Cha
Adhyatmaha sadhidaivascha. Adibhuta iti tridha. Virat prano dashavidha. Ekada hridayena cha. Sa adhyatmaha, the body and the mind with all the senses. Sa adidaivaha, and the controlling demigods of the senses. Cha, and sa adibhutaha, the present objectives. Iti, thus. Tridha, T, Virat, gigantic. Pranaha, moving force. Dashavidhaha, 10 kinds. Ekatha, one only. Hridayena, living energy. Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1, in the sense that He is the body and the mind and the senses. He is the dynamic force for all movements by 10 kinds of life energy. And He is the one heart where life energy is generated. Translation with repetition, let us try. The gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1. In the sense that He is the body and the mind and the senses. He is the dynamic force for all movements by 10 kinds of life energy. He is the one heart where life energy is generated. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 4th and 5th verse, it is stated that the 8 elements, I can read from the screen. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego, are all products of the Lord's inferior energy, whereas the living entities who are seen to utilize the inferior energy originally belong to the superior energy, the internal potency of the Lord. The 8 inferior energies work grossly and subtly, whereas the superior energy works as the central generating force. This is experienced in the human body. The gross elements, namely earth, etc., form the external gross body and are like a coat, whereas the subtle mind and false ego act like the inner clothing of the body. The movements of the body are first generated from the heart, and all the activities of the body are made possible by the senses, powered by the 10 kinds of air within the body. The 10 kinds of air are described as follows. The main air passing through the nose in breathing is called prana. The air which passes through the rectum as evacuated bodily air is called apana. The air which adjusts the food stuff within the stomach and which sometimes sounds as belching is called samana. The air which passes through the throat and the stoppage of which constitutes suffocation is called the udana air. And the total air which circulates throughout the entire body is called the vyana air. Subtler than these 5 airs, there are others also. That which facilitates the opening of the eyes, mouth, etc. is called naga air. The air which increases appetite is called krikara air. The air which helps contraction is called kurma air. The air which helps relaxation by opening the mouth wide in yawning is called devadatta air. And the air which helps sustenance is called dhananjaya air. All these airs are generated from the center of the heart, which is one only. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord, who is seated within the heart with the soul of the body, who acts under the guidance of the Lord. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord, who is seated within the heart with the soul of the body, who acts under the guidance of the Lord. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita as follows. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavit eva chaham. The complete central force is generated from the heart by the Lord, who is seated there and who helps the conditioned soul in remembering and forgetting. The conditioned state is due to the soul's forgetfulness of his relationship of subordination to the Lord. One who wants to continue to forget the Lord is helped by the Lord to forget him birth after birth. But one who remembers him by dint of association with a devotee of the Lord is helped to remember him more and more. Thus, the conditioned soul can ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. This process of transcendental help by the Lord is described in Bhagavad Gita as follows. Isham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayanti te. The Buddhi Yoga process of self-realization with intelligence transcendental to the mind, devotional service, can alone elevate one from the conditioned state of material entanglement in the cosmic construction. The conditioned state of the living entity is like that of a person who is within the depths of a huge mechanical arrangement. The mental speculators can reach the point of Buddhi Yoga after many, many lifetimes of speculation. But the intelligent person who begins from the platform of intelligence above the mind makes rapid progress in self-realization. Because the Buddhi Yoga process entails no fear of deterioration or retrogression at any time. It is the guaranteed path to self-realization as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.40. The mental speculators cannot understand that the two birds, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, sitting in one tree are the soul and the supersoul. The individual soul eats the fruit of the tree, while the other bird does not eat the fruit, but only observes the activities of the eating bird. Without attachment, the witnessing bird helps the fruit-eating bird perform fruitful activities. One who cannot understand this difference between the soul and the supersoul, or God and the living entities, is certainly still in the entanglement of the cosmic machinery, and thus must await the time when he will be free from bondage. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from this chapter called Creation of the Universal Form from the Srimad Bhagavatam. 2 verses before, in the 7th verse, this discussion about Ekada, Dashadha, Tridha came up. And in today's verse, this is being further elaborated. What is that Ekada, what is the Dashadha, and what is the Tridha? So this verse is describing Tridha to be the material energy, the living entity, and the devatas who control the material energy and the senses of the living entities. Dashadha, Dashavidha refers to the 10 kinds of air. We read in the purport all the different kinds of air that work in this body. And then Ekada. Yes, there is this Tridha, Dashadha, Dashavidha, and there is one Ekada, Hridayena cha. And that is the one which is animating this body, and so on. So the gigantic universal form is represented by 3, 10, and 1. And all of this is part of the gigantic universal form of the Lord, Virat Purusha of the Lord. So if you remember in the purport, Prabhupada has used certain expression, cosmic construction, huge mechanical arrangement, cosmic missionary. This is what this universe that we are all part of. All this description in the Bhagavatam, the Virat Rupa, Dashavidha, Trividha, Ekadha, all this is to help us understand this. We are situated in this universe. We must think, why am I situated in this universe? Why is the universe this way? Why is the universe constructed this way? Why am I going through all this? And to find out one that is driving all these things. It is meant to make us think. Imagine you are sitting in a train and the train is going. But imagine you don't know where the train is going and where you are going, where you are heading. Can you be comfortable in that situation? You'll start wondering, hey, what am I? Where am I going? This train is going suddenly, all of a sudden, and I'm in the train. Who is making this train? Who put me in the train? And where is this train taking me? Who has made this arrangement? We must question. But we are so mandamatayaha in Kali Yuga, we don't question. Actually, we are not even in a train. We are in a roller coaster. You remember, you have seen those roller coasters in the amusement park, at least in pictures or in some videos. We are like that, sitting in a roller coaster. Sometimes thrill, oh, happiness. Sometimes full of fear, oh, what's happening? All this is going on, roller coaster for 100 years. And still we don't ask the question, what is going on in this cosmic machinery, cosmic construction? What is happening to me? See, so dull-headed we are. From the Vedic literatures, from the Vedic culture, Vedic intelligence point of view, all this is actually meant to awaken us and question. Animals cannot question. Animals are also going through roller coaster like us, but they are just going, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes fear. They are just going on. They are not questioning. But we can't be like that. This is what the Shastra is saying. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Actually, this birth, death, old age, and disease, these are like alarms. Alarm is meant to wake us up. And every now and then the alarm is going off. We have got used to it. We shut the alarm and go back to sleep. Again, the alarm rings. Cyclone. We put the alarm and we go to sleep. Pandemic, COVID, Corona. Little bit we are all woken up a little, shaken. Very soon you will see we'll put that alarm off and go back to sleep. This is what is happening to all of us. So Vedic literatures are trying to wake us up to the reality so that we will question these things and try to find out who is behind all these things. All these complex construction is there. Who is behind this? why I am going through this, what is that I am expected to do to bring us to that awareness, all this cosmic construction and how it is constructed, how it is arranged to make us understand that this Bhagavatam is described. Actually, it's a very complex arrangement. This cosmic arrangement is very complex. It's not simple. I don't know if you have heard this quote. I've mentioned this sometimes in some classes. There was one researcher in MIT, the big institute in the world. And this researcher is one of the important persons who did research on nanotechnology. And this researcher says, he analyzes how the world is, how things are going on. And then he says, if you take a leaf in a tree, what is going on in the leaf at a molecular level? It is taking air inside. It is taking sunlight. It has got a chlorophyll molecule. With the sunlight energy, finally the sunlight energy goes in as a photon, which is having a certain amount of energy. That photon has come all the way from the sun. It enters the leaf. It goes into the chlorophyll. And the chlorophyll in that leaf, the tree has sucked the water from the root. It is taking the air. And the air has nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen. It takes the carbon dioxide from the air out of the other, leaves the other gases, converts that into starch using the energy from the solar energy and the water, and releases the oxygen back. It uses carbon dioxide, releases oxygen, and makes its own food in the form of starch, and then it is growing. All this is happening, and this researcher says, if you analyze carefully at the molecular level, what is happening in a leaf is far more complicated than what is happening in an Intel chip, which is inside the computers, mobile phones, processing all the information. What is happening in a small leaf is much more complex. Just see how this cosmic arrangement is. It is so complex at the molecular level. It is also complex at the gigantic levels of the planets and the stars and the various different things that are there in the universe. At every level, it is complex. And we are situated in this missionary, cosmic missionary, going through all these different experiences. Should we not ask, what is this all about? Who created it? What was the purpose of the creation? What am I expected to do? Who is behind all this? And that is why in Western philosophy, this is known as intelligent design. The principle is that when you look at this universe, you will see design, and it is intelligently designed. And hence we must ask the question, who is the designer? What was the intent of the designer? Actually, this idea, this concept of intelligent design, actually, this is not just intelligent design. It is complexly coordinated design. I'll give you one example. Sometimes I'm sure all of you would have noticed also. If you go to your farm, Hingonia farm, and if you are chanting there in the midst of the trees early in the morning, there'll be a lot of squirrels come there. We have all seen squirrels. So look at the squirrel. The squirrel eats some fruit. Some kinds of fruits it won't eat. Unripe fruit it will not eat. It is looking for the right kind of fruit. It won't go and eat some bark of a tree. It won't eat something. It goes and eats the right kind of fruit. It is attracted to some kinds of fruit because its tongue tastes that fruit as very nice, very relishable. So on the tongue of the squirrel, when this fruit juice falls, it creates nice sensation, like it happens to us. When we bite into a mango or a banana or an apple, it tastes very good. If you bite into Karela, it will be bitter. If you bite into raw papaya, it will not be pleasurable. So, in the same way, the squirrel is also going through that. See, the squirrel's small brain and the small tongue are made in such a way to detect the right kind of fruit and eat that fruit. And when the squirrel eats that fruit, mostly the small seeds also get into the body of the fruit, of the squirrel. And the squirrel has in its digestive system, in its body, it has right kinds of digestive juices which will digest the fruit, absorb the nutrients from the fruit. But the seed which was there, the seed is covered with something hard and the digestive juices cannot digest that one. And later on, when the squirrel is running somewhere far away, it will drop the droppings of the squirrel. And the seed comes out. And the purpose of the tree is achieved. The seed got dispersed. Just look at this arrangement. The fruit, what kind of taste it creates. The tongue and the brain of the squirrel to recognize it as tasty fruit and then digest the fruit, not able to digest the seed, take it far away and drop it, and the seed will grow and into become another tree. So the sweetness of the fruit, the tongue and the brain of the squirrel, the digestive juices of the squirrel, and the hard covering of the seed, all of these are properly coordinated. This is just one example. Look at all the different things, animals, birds, and bugs, and all of them are having like this different things, and whole cosmic machinery, cosmic construction, huge mechanical arrangement. This is going on. So it's not just intelligent design, it is coordinated design. Complex coordinated design. And mind you, the squirrel will not go and eat a raw, unripe fruit because the unripe fruit is not tasty enough for its little tongue. And it is unripe and it is not tasty because the fruit is still producing the seed. The seed is not ready. It is still work in progress. It is still going on. Manufacturing production is going on. So the squirrel should not come and disturb now. And hence sometimes it is bitter. And the squirrel will not disturb that. And when the seed is ready, the fruit turns red or orange or yellow, and then it becomes soft, it becomes tasty, and now the squirrel comes and eats. Look at the coordination at the molecular level. If the color has to become a green mango, has to become red mango, it is complex molecular changes that are happening to convert a chlorophyll molecule into another kind of a molecule called xanthophyll, which is actually having the red or orange or yellow color. It's a complex chemical change. All of this is happening. And looking at all these things, we are still not mandamatayaha. And so, in fact, if you have heard this, scientists used to use the word, we are all hardwired. The squirrel is hardwired to identify a soft, sweet fruit and eat that one, and so on. Now, scientists have stopped using that one. I read about it recently. Because if you use the word hardwired, you have to explain who wired it. The whole idea of scientists is they don't want to accept that there is God. In fact, Charles Darwin said, I want to explain design without a designer. Because design indicates there is a designer. Can I explain the design without a designer? This was the spirit of not all scientists. Many scientists are very theistic and they recognize the presence of God, acknowledge the presence of God, like Newton. Newton was a great believer of God. Newton wrote more articles on God and lesser articles on science. Somebody did a research and studied all the different articles that Newton wrote. So he was a very religious, God-fearing person. So many scientists are like that, but then a few scientists. Charles Darwin was like that. He wanted to explain design in the universe without the presence of a designer by an automatic evolution process. And so he thought that now this is how it happened. So this is the whole point. The Bhagavatam is describing all this universe. In the Vedic literatures, you find slightly varying description. Sometimes Trida, Dashavida, Eka, Ekada. Sometimes in say Ashtadha, like Krishna explains, Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara nitiyam me bhinna prakriti Ashtada, 8. So varying explanations are there. You can explain it in different ways in the Vedic literatures also you find. But the intent of all this analysis is to find out ekada hrudayena cha. There is one force which is driving all these things. That is what this Bhagavatam is saying. You can call it Dashavidha, Tridha, Ekadha. And Dashavidha, we saw all these different kinds of airs which are there in the body. And of course, the primary air is the one which we are breathing in and out. That's why it is called prana. And if that goes, that stops, finish. We are over in this body. So finally, this verse is saying, Ekada hridayena cha. And that is why finally there is one which is in the heart. And that is why Prabhupada is quoting in the purport, heart verse. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto. Hrudi sannivishtaha. And Krishna is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto mattasmritir jnanam aponam cha. So sometimes people ask this question. I'm sure you would have also come across. Sometimes people ask, Why do you all say Krishna, 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 Krishna so much? One of the persons who would have definitely told us was in our family, our homes, our parents. Suddenly we went home and started talking Krishna, Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, offer food to Krishna. We have to read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, Krishna. What has gone wrong with you? Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You are saying somebody has brainwashed you. You've gone mad. That is why there is a story. Prabhupada met one man in Bombay. And when after hearing Prabhupada's class and some discussion, he said, Swamiji, why you are saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna so much? I also respect Bhagavad Gita. I have set aside so much money. I want to use it for Bhagavad Gita, but not Krishna. Look at this verse. The verse which Prabhupada has quoted, heart verse. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannim. Every line in this verse is telling aham, 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 mattaha, me, I. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishtaha. I am seated in everyone's heart. Mattha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me, mattaha, from me. Again, Krishna is saying, from me comes jnana, knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. Vedaischa sarvair aham vedyaha. From all the Vedic literatures, I am to be known. Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedanta. Vedas, I am the knower of the Vedantas. Look at this. Every line in the verse, in this particular verse, Krishna is saying, me, aham, mattaha. You cannot avoid Krishna because that is the fact. We are surrounded by Krishna and Krishna's manifestation in the form of the energy. Our body is an energy made of Krishna's energy. The world we live in, the furniture, the floor we are sitting on, the chair we are sitting, asan we are sitting, the table that is in front of us, the wind that is blowing, everything, the sunlight, electric light, even the electric light, everything is Krishna's manifestation of Krishna's energy. We are surrounded by it. How can we avoid Krishna? Krishna Maya. This is the fact. And so, Krishna, and we are ourselves another energy of Krishna. We are not separate. We are not independent. We are not something not connected to Krishna. Everything around me is connected to Krishna and I am watching all these. No, even I am part and parcel of Krishna. Look at this situation. This is the cosmic construction we are part of. And hence Krishna is saying, we must know why I am in this situation. What is the purpose of all these things? And Prabhupada is pointing out, when somebody is inquisitive like that, and then if we come in touch with the devotee of the Lord, he will tell us more and more about Krishna. Then Krishna will give further help, transcendental help. Prabhupada has used that word. This process of transcendental help by the Lord is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadhami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayanti te. Dadami buddhi yogam. Here again, I give the intelligence. Dadami. Dadami means I am going to give you the intelligence. Buddhi yogam enamam upayanti te. Again, mam upayanti. I give you the intelligence so that you will come to me. Just see, if you analyze every verse in the Bhagavad Gita, it's about Krishna, going to Krishna, Krishna's manifestation, Krishna's energy, how Krishna is controlling. Everything is under the control of Krishna. And Krishna also telling, but nobody knows me. This is actually our situation. And so Krishna is the foundation. Krishna is the controller. Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And this is the purpose of the Vedic literatures, to make us understand this, and so that we can go back to the spiritual. And Srila Prabhupada said, if we chant Hare Krishna, if we follow the regulative principles, only these two things, not very complex. Chant Hare Krishna, follow the 4 regulative principles. Krishna will give further guidance how we should do different activities in this world so that we can go back. And hence, our acharyas, this degree of recognition of Krishna, understanding of Krishna, very special in our sampradaya, and as it is taught by Srila Prabhupada. And so we worship Krishna, we chant Krishna, we remember Krishna, we hear about Krishna, we serve Krishna, we want to please Krishna according to the directions of a pure devotee of Krishna. And by doing that, our heart will be cleansed. And by the mercy of the devotee of Krishna and the mercy of Krishna, we will go able to go back to Krishna. So very happy to address all of you, to talk to all of you. Krishna Balaram, I'm hearing that you are all observing the Patotsav of Krishna Balaram's appearance in your temple. And so happy to see the multi-purpose hall. So happy to see all of you. And if it was normal circumstance, maybe I would have also come and participated in the festival. But now under the circumstances, we are not traveling, and wish you all a very nice festival of Krishna Balaram, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Nitai Gauranga, and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. May you have a nice festival. Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna Prabhus. Hare Krishna Jaipur Yatra. Amitasana Prabhu, I heard he's also not well, but I must guess he must be getting well. I spoke to him about a week ago. And Jagan Mohan Prabhu is also here. Hare Krishna to all of you. Hare Krishna Prabhus. Jai. With this, I will close, and you can also go for your next program. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.